Well, there may be ample evidence to suggest that informants and sources on the streets might be running rackets similar to those who are basically comparable to suspects and persons of interest. That's my impression of it. But should that exist? No. No. That should not exist at all. As a matter of fact, I would say that a program like that, where informants and sources pretend to be the criminal enemy and the persons of interest and suspect, meaning that the likes of the police force tumbles downward and it basically ends up in a hole that it can't dig itself out of. But the other argument is, too, should the likes of persons of interest and suspects act like informants and sources and meet the enemy in the middle, which is the informants and sources acting like the likes of the suspect and person of interest? Should they meet in the middle and try to coincide with each other? Because I find what's funny is the deep state isn't really coincidentally factualized. I like to think it's informants and sources and suspects and persons of interest. It's a war between informants and sources and suspects and persons of interest, where they're basically at war with each other in a mind war scenario where all things have been considered, but not that. The suspects and persons of interest have decided to use every covert government technique it can think of, from Hewitt versus to domestic intelligence operations. I would say the likes of these men and women do what they can to copycat what government does already, but they just end up reinventing it much, much differently in much greater ways than possible and twisting it on the governments themselves. So, psychological warfare, wet works, and black ops in the United States of America knows that this is a potential threat to U.S. national security and its defense. But other than that, Western countries aside should have noticed the trend and should have followed it through NSA and PRISM and then also Tempora too, but never got around to doing that. How convenient is that? Why would a military pass that up, I wonder? And the other thing that happens too is a lot of these people are against depopulation. They don't like the idea of depopulation because it might ruin their lives. It might ruin their perfect little existence. It might shut down their entire purpose of living. But either way, these people do not like Agenda 21. Over 92% of the world's population does not respect the idea of having that done to them. So you know what? The United Nations was not clear about how many people per capita would give a damn. And that's what I thought. See, politics does not understand how to make new world orders in order out of chaos. I put it like this. The political class doesn't know how to make a new world order in order out of chaos and similar orders across the world because their hands are tied by politics through their own constituents. So you know what the constituents do? Conspiracy theorists against their own leaders and their own party leaders and the likes of the Capitol Hill in D.C. and then the House of Commons in Ottawa. Same thing. The same bickering fest going on between both sides? Oh, yeah. Follow that idea. And it does exist.